Hey, we're live. Anybody watching yet? Oh, there's 3 of you already. That's cool. Guys, I'm on my iPhone, and I've kind of got it mounted in a weird spot because I'm not in my tractor. So let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if the audio is okay. I think this tractor is fairly quiet inside, but I don't know. Never live streamed out of it before. So we're in a John Deere 8400R demo tractor. This is a tractor that belongs to Ag Pro. They're letting us borrow it. We are in the tractor market, so I guess we're not letting us borrow it. We're letting us demo it for a few hours. But got it hooked to a 5-shank Rutherford zone builder. And I'm going back and forth. So far, the tractor's pretty cool. Oh, just blocked everyone's comments. Audio's good. Well, good. Is the 8400 the same horsepower as the old? No. The old 8400, it had 225 horsepower is what those were rated at. And this 8400 is rated at 400 horsepower. So quite a bit more. Where are we at here? Watching in Australia. Well, thank you. Gotta make sure we don't run into the lane. That would be bad. Don't want to rip up the driveway. That's not what we're trying to do. Hi from Washington Courthouse. This came from Washington Courthouse. If you take the vent cover out of the ceiling, you can fit a beer. It's got a refrigerator in the floor, so probably just go that route. On the way to Iowa for a John Deere Golden Key tour. Is that what, I mean, do you get one of those when you buy a combine or order something? I've heard of them, I just can't remember what they are. Gotta turn around here. Hang on. Get to the ends, we really hit the hard dirt. Tyler Arters is my salesman. Tyler Arters was my college roommate. We do not need to rip at 10 miles an hour. We're going to slow that bad boy down and drop the ripper more. This is I think they call it the E23 transmission. This isn't an IVT, IVT. It is a power shift. I'm in the automatic function of it, and it functions very similar to an IVT. It's always looking for the lowest amount of RPMs needed to maintain the ground speed that I've selected. Seems to be working pretty good. One thing with the ripper though, where it's idling when we come out of the, it'll be idling whenever I pick the ripper up, and then when I put it down, there's just a big jolt on it, and I think that can be messed with some settings, but just run it like this for now. I think they call it engine lag or something along those lines. Let's see here. I want to hold the phone a little bit. Lost track of the comments. What do you think of the 8RX? I have absolutely no idea. I mean, from what I understand, you get a really cool chair. What am I doing? I'm ripping. We're going back and forth 12.5 feet at a time. It takes a while. You should wait and try out the new 8RX. Well, I mean, I would definitely try one out. I just don't know that I'd be able to afford one. Let's see here. Where's George? George just went home. It's like 5:30. It's his dinner time. Hi from Alaska. Well, hello. Do you like the Deere better than the Challenger? I haven't been in the Deere enough to really make that determination. I mean, I've got a lot of hours on that Challenger. I was telling someone this earlier. I have not seen anything that has made me not like this tractor. Like nothing glaring that just stuck out or anything. The tractor seems to be fine. It doesn't have quite as much functionality as our Challenger, I don't think. But I also am not pretending to be an expert on how to run this machine. Still getting used to the Deere auto steer. First time I've ever been in a 4600. Seems like a pretty decent motor. I mean, that's one thing. It does seem simpler than the AccuTerminal and the Challenger, but maybe, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. So, you know, basically all I'm doing is making an AB line. Why a 1000 series Challenger and not the Fendt? Well, they're basically the same machine. The Challenger is quite a bit cheaper. It doesn't quite have the Fendt warranty or whatever. But our AGCO salesman at the time, that dealer was mainly just selling Challengers and not Fendts. So, do you guys rip a lot of your ground? No, this is the most we've ripped in a long time. Kind of debating on getting in a ripping rotation, ripping all of our fields every 4 years, like just having to, you know, rip so many fields and then come back in 4 years. So this year I'm ripping, I'm gonna rip a couple hundred acres. It's like this field, for example, is 180 acres. I'm gonna rip 60 of it. I'm gonna see if we can tell where I quit ripping. See if it's gonna be worth putting this much fuel, time, and effort into doing it. But we usually rip hard places and stuff like that where we know we've compacted it. Are you a Buckeyes fan? I am. I went to Ohio State. Never went to a game, and I don't watch them very often. Did you take your dad's snacks? No, I did not. The whole time I rode in his combine, or drove it, I maybe ate one bag of M&Ms and a bag of like crackers or something, like a pack of crackers. I was in his combine for probably, I probably put 40 separator hours on that thing this year. So I am not the snack culprit. I believe he is. Keep losing track of the comments. How long have you had the family farm? Farm has been in the family for 90 years. Nice looking tractor. Yeah, it's all right. What are the pros and cons of the tractor? Still figuring that out. I actually went over what I was going to talk about when someone asked me that. No, I can't remember. There's nothing terrible. Personal preference stuff, like, for example, oh, that didn't work. For example, that on the Challenger is right there, and I just like that better. Just a second. Gotta turn. Gotta put you down. See, we just about drove into the driveway. It's about time to turn the lights on. Well, there's the hard ground. We are ripping pretty deep, probably 20 inches right now. All right, let's take this thing down. I'm gonna flip the lights on. It's got pretty good lights, I think. I've never used them in the field, just messing with them in the driveway, but I mean, yeah, not too bad. We're not going very fast. We can bump her up a bit. All right, so how this E23 power shift works, just like our John Deere, our old 8400, you have a bump shifter right here, and you can run it in automatic or you can run it manual. Got the throttle wide open in automatic. Here's where you select your speed. I'm going to turn this dial right here, and it's going to move this number right here. That's what gear I'm in and what my selected speed is. This is my actual speed and my RPMs up here. So see, like that, right now we're up 6.4 miles an hour. It's going to find the RPMs it needs to do that and save as much fuel as possible. Yeah, everything, I believe this is so you can set like a sequence. I don't know how to do that. Haven't really messed with it any. I don't know how I feel about having your heat and air and all this stuff right here. I mean, I think you can even use your radio right here. Did not know that. The 4600, still getting the hang of that. That's going to take a little while, but that's with every time you get a different monitor. none of them are the easiest to get the hang of. They take a while. What kind of Deere machinery did you have? When I started planting soybeans, I was planting with a Great Plains splitter planter and a John Deere 7920. Last year, a guy ripped a state road in Washington. We're trying not to do that. Is it your dad's farm? Dad has most of the acres. I own one farm, and then we each rent some ground. Dad has been around here. Auto steer, implement, there we go. Hey, Travis Farms, thanks for the super chat. Let me read that. Pretty cool. I'm in a 2018 7230R right now, and I'm a fan. Keep up the good videos. What's your guys' nutrient program? Do you pull much anhydrous? Thanks for tons from Iowa. We don't use anhydrous. We would really like to strip till in anhydrous or dry fertilize, but we don't have a tank. Probably not going to get a tank, so we're kind of looking to mix that up. We're trying to figure out if we want to do a deep tillage rotation like a ripper. Like if we did that, we'd probably invest in a 7 shank, just because this is taking forever. At least a 7 shank would be a little bit bigger. Or perhaps go to a strip till, where we'd be strip tilling bean stubble for the corn the next year. I'd rather strip till and then strip till or dry fertilize in, but I don't know. That stuff all costs a lot of money. What's your opinions on GPS? Well, it's awesome. For one thing, I can do things like host a live stream, and another thing, it makes it much more, that's terrible lighting, makes it much more efficient to work. I didn't have auto steer in this at first because I couldn't figure it out, and it was just hard to maintain much efficiency. I know I missed a lot of people's comments, so I'm going to try to catch up here. It's quiet. Man, it ain't bad. I mean, we're only running, right now we're running 1600 RPMs. So. Did you like the Great Plains splitter planter? Not particularly. The last year I used it, I mean, I worked on it more than I got to use it. Now, granted, I was pretty new at planting. Like, I was like, I don't know. It's the first years I ever planted, so. But it just wasn't as well designed, I didn't think, as the Gator John Deere planters we've had. How does the 8400 handle? Suspension-wise, it rides really good. I don't know how to compare it to the Challenger. I'd have to get in the Challenger right after I got into this, to be honest with you. It definitely rides pretty good, though. It rides better than Dad's Challenger. His doesn't have the suspension that this one or the 1038 does. But other than that, I mean, it handles pretty good. It does seem like the turning radius is maybe a little longer than our Challenger, but I think that some adjustments could be made to the steering stops or perhaps the spacing, and you could fix that. I don't know that for a fact. It's just my guess. Like when we got our Challenger, it didn't steer with the crap, and then we adjusted those, and now it turns pretty good. Oh, there we go. Any advice for a starting ag YouTuber? Well, when I first started, I watched a lot of videos on how to start a YouTube channel. I did not know what I was doing at all. Didn't know how to upload, didn't know how to edit or anything, so just stick with it. Accept the fact that your first few videos aren't going to be your best. You and Zach swapping brands all of a sudden. Have a thing for 8 Series. Well, I don't know if he bought that combine or not, but we have not bought this tractor, so we are swapping temporarily, if that's the case. Like I said, we are in the market, but I'm really glad they let us demo this first, because it's the first time I've drove a John Deere in a long time, a new John Deere, and it's, I don't know, I like the tractor, can't say anything bad about it. What criteria will be used to rip soil versus non-ripped? Well, for one thing, we'll definitely be going off the yield data for this area the next season. I'm also going to pay attention to things like how does that ground stay wetter longer or dry out quicker, things along those lines. I know in years past when I've ripped spots in fields, I would just rip like the end rows where we compact it real heavy with the grain cart and stuff. And one year I did that like a month before we planted, and I haven't done that since because that ground never really had time to settle, and Dad about ripped the axles off the sprayer when he hit that going 14 miles an hour. It's getting dark in this cab, but that light is not the greatest. Any plans for phasing out wheat or trying something else into the rotation? I would prefer to get rid of some of the wheat, but I don't know. Dad's still a pretty big fan, and I don't know that I want to get rid of it completely, but maybe cut back. Someone asked if we are done. Kentucky Farmer asked if we are done with harvest. We're not quite done. We have 20 acres of corn after they finish tonight, which they should be about done. But we have to go build a driveway for that field, so the next field. Hopefully do that in the morning. And then we have 250 acres of soybeans. I was going to start on those last night while they were finishing corn, and then we got rained out yesterday. Just a random pop-up shower. It lasted for about 3 hours. Didn't do a whole lot, but the beans are wet. And to make things even better, good old Cargill, our local elevator, will only take 13% soybeans until they get a train. So I guarantee ours are wetter than 13, and we don't have any space left to store them. So hopefully we can make a pretty good dent in them tomorrow, though. Even with the trucks, we'll be able to hold quite a bit. Fent or case, Fent or case, Fent or case. Well, I don't have a Fent, I have a Challenger, which is very similar to a Fent, but I do not I traded a case for the Fent, so I mean, I have nothing against a Magnum or a Steiger, but I like my my Challenger / Fent better. Andrew Reeves, would you ever host a farm day for people to visit? I don't know. It's something I'm kind of up in the air on. On one hand, there's a lot of liability with something like that. I mean, I love all you guys to death, but I don't know any of you really. I mean, I guess I'm just worried about someone getting hurt or something like that. That could come back on us, and I don't know. I kind of like having the privacy of, you know, at our farm. So I don't know. At this time, we don't have any plans for it. Maybe if we don't sell the old mower shop, we could do it there. Did you see NASCAR championship race? Was that today? Today's Tuesday. I don't know. I don't get to watch a whole lot of NASCAR. I can't get into it all that well. If you get a strip tiller, you're going to trade in the Turbo Max for it. I don't know if we'd keep the Turbo Max or not. We probably wouldn't use it near as much. We probably would keep it because it is handy in some situations, and I just probably wouldn't use it quite as much. Privacy is overrated. Yeah. I don't know. Ag Leader or Green Star? Keep in mind, I do not know how to use this 100%, so I'm going to have to go with Ag Leader for now. This doesn't seem like a bad display. One thing I worry about with Green Star, it seems like everything you want to do with them is a fee, a yearly subscription, whereas with Ag Leader, most things are a $750 unlock. So I don't know yet. I can't answer that just yet. Lunging forward. Get this beast turned around. And we drop. Oh, we are not going to go that fast. Right there. That's good. Cover crop field status. Well, the field that the radishes are in is this field. Like, we're going to be tilling around it. They look like they did pretty well. We definitely put them on too thick. So that, I think that kind of hampered them growing as like to their full potential. But yeah, I like them pretty well. One thing I want to look at is fuel usage to do this versus the cost it is to spread those things. Them things aren't cheap. but I kind of like the idea of the radishes better. So I don't know. Our biggest thing with the radishes is the time frame you need to have them on. Like the main reason that got radishes on it over there, we didn't have a crop in it. Hello from Norway. Do you think, hi Brian, do you ever think do you think we'll do any other crops? That'd be pretty market dependent. Right now, our local market, corn, soybeans, and wheat are pretty much the only thing that we got. There's not a lot of market for like other crops that you see growing around the country. There's a little bit of market for hay, but for the most part, those are the three main ones that people are using. What tractor is getting replaced? Probably wouldn't be replacing anything. We'd probably be adding a tractor, especially if we do go to strip till. We would definitely need another higher horsepower tractor. So I don't think we'd be replacing anything. If I figured out the 4600, I can make it steer, and I can look at some stuff, but that's about it. Do you hunt? I duck hunt and deer hunt a little bit. You considering buying a new grain cart? I don't know. There's a lot of other things I would rather upgrade. I really like that Underfoot cart. I like the capacity of it. I like it. I didn't think a 1,300 bushel cart would be something that we would be interested in, but that's probably the way I would go now. When we got our J&M out in the last video, it just seemed incredibly small compared to that other one. Skipping several rows with this subsoiler, with this ripper. It's so small, it's really hard to get turned back around, so I'm skipping like 4 passes. And then I kind of alternate it. Seems to be the best way to go about it. Okay, let's see. What time is it at your place? It is 5:45. Is the 8400 or the 1038 strongest horsepower? The 1038 is rated at 380 horsepower. This is rated at 400. One of the main things, in my opinion, a power shift just pulls a little bit different than a CVT or an IVT. But with this eco thing on this one, or this fuel savings thing, it's fairly similar to how an IVT or CVT would react. I don't know which pulls better. I've never had the ripper on the 1038. I do hope to get this tractor on the Turbo Max for a day or a few hours at least tomorrow or maybe the next day, and just so I can see the power range differences, because I know how the 1038 handles the Turbo Max, so that'd probably be the best place to find that out. Someone just said power shift you lose 15%, CVT 25. That makes sense to me. I could see that just because I've had a 340 Magnum. It was a power shift. And to me, it and the 380 or the 1038 seem very similar in how they pull the Turbo Max. So I would definitely believe that. Please feed George. Poor thing's wasting away fast. Is Kloss your favorite combine? I don't know. It's the one that I have the most experience with. Keep in mind, for you viewers that like John Deere or Case IH, that's what you grew up with. That's all you know. Well, Klaus is basically all I know. We had a John Deere whenever, the last one we had, I was 15 years old. So my whole experience as an operator has been in a Kloss Lexion. So, at the time, that's just what I had the most experience in. Turn off the full auto mode and do a comparison. I probably will at some point. I don't know if I'll do it in this live stream, just because it's pretty easy to do this in the live stream. I can just go, and it takes care of the rest. Why would you get rid of the Case IH? They were the best. Well, they were not the cheapest. The 1038, we really liked that tractor. I wanted to try it. I've always liked the Challenger CVTs, but it was also the best price when we priced that tractor, so it was pretty much a win-win. If you switch combines, what are you getting? I don't know. We would price, probably have to price them. We really like the new Kloss. Really about the only combine I haven't tried is the John Deere. The Case, I was really glad we got to try that, just because it's like this tractor. It's something I had no experience with. So you always wonder. And after we demoed that case, I wouldn't have any problem owning one of those either. I mean, it was a smooth running machine. But I would say the Kloss or the Lexion would probably have like an advantage in my mind, just because those are the kind of things that I'm familiar with as far as combines. How far is your dealer? Our Case dealer, our John Deere dealer, and our AGCO dealer are all 30 to 45 minutes away. It's an easy road to get to, though, so it's not too bad of a drive. Who owns Kloss? The Kloss family. That's a family-owned company. Need to do fuel comparisons between the Challenger and John Deere. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at this thing. I'm just looking at my instant fuel consumption. It's been all over the place. It's been anywhere from 8 gallons per hour all the way to 19, depending on how hard we're pulling and what kind of dirt. So this is probably not the greatest implement to do that comparison with. Be interesting to see how it compares on the Turbomax. Yeah, you can put auto steer on your old John Deere, like how Farmerswork did. That's something I've considered. We don't use that tractor a whole lot, but if we start doing this ripping rotation, I would probably put our 5-shank ripper on it. It's got enough ponies to pull it through most of the ground. It would not do so great down here. This ground's pretty hard. Like right now we're cruising along pretty good, but I've stalled this tractor a couple times, and it's a 400 horse machine. So I don't know. It costs about $9,000 to $10,000 to put auto steer on that 8400. So. Just rev it up to 2100 and leave it. Yeah, I want to do that, but I also want to not use all my fuel. Get a 340 and get rid of that 8400R. If I had a 340, really liked that tractor. Had it for 3 years. It was a leased machine, planted with it, tilled with it. No complaints other than the Pro 700. I still hate that darn thing. Other than that, it was a pretty good tractor. Nope. Hit the come up button on the hitch and it didn't come up. We almost drove into that tree. I do not know that AGCO or Ag Pro would have liked me driving their tractor into a tree. There probably would have been some questions about insurance. What insurance? Insurance? What's that for? Apparently we have some spam. If there's some spam in here, guys, I haven't seen it, but if I do see it, I will get rid of it. Why do you hate the Pro 700 so much? It's just a very complicated monitor, in my opinion. My very first experience with that monitor, I was trying to plant with it, and I had my run screen set up, and I was playing around with how I wanted my page layouts. Next thing I know, I zapped out my vacuum control, my bulk fill fan, and something else that was critical to planting, and I could not find them. Spent like an hour and a half trying to figure out how to use that thing, and I've had a bad taste in my mouth ever since then. Plus, there's several limitations to it as far as internal storage. Trimble Auto Steer saves you a bunch. JD is spendy. Just put on my combine for field view. Yeah, I don't know. We've had some bad Trimble experience. Every company's got their pluses and minuses. So that's a fact. What is that thing hanging around your neck? Everyone always asks that. That is a Bluetooth headset. You will not burn a lot of fuel doing that. I don't know, we're burning quite a bit. Why not? Why don't you get a Magnum? Everything comes down to price. But Brian, can I get a wrench to hammer the spammers? I don't know how to do that, but can I click on you? Huh. There you go. I think I made it. That's scary because I don't know if I did it or not. But I think you are now a moderator. Oh, we got to turn around again. Wouldn't it be nice if all fields were like a mile long? Those would be the best ones to do live streams in, that's for sure. Oh, there she is. Here pulling down. It's because we're sunk her down. That tractor might not have come with auto steer. It didn't have the globe on it when they brought it down, but we've got auto steer now. We are steering. Looky there. Yep. Lighting on it's pretty good. One thing, it shoots light out this way pretty good. My Challenger, I don't know. I need to adjust the lights on it. You can spin them around. I never have, but I have a dark spot right here. Alright, how do you like it? I mean, I like the tractor okay. Brian, have you looked into Versatile? We have, at one time they used to have some really aggressive leasing prices, and we had looked at those, but I don't know that they still do. We don't have, Mayor would be our nearest dealer. Dad had talked about them. He likes them. They seem like a very simple tractor. Why don't you go for 500 horsepower? Depends on what kind of tillage practice we decide to do, but at the moment, that is just more power than we need. Do you like the command arm screen? I don't know what that is. Hello from Italy. Well, hello from America. So you're going to buy a John Deere 8400. It just depends on the price. They are figuring us a price on this machine. We're also getting a price on some others, so I don't know. Haven't made up our minds just yet. At the same time, if we could find a nice used tractor, like a well-used tractor that we would just use for tillage or something like that, we'd also go that route. Any new merch? The government juice stickers came in yesterday. We got new government juice stickers. We are still out of all the hoodies that were out. Haven't got any new ones for a while, but we will be getting more merch in before Christmas. That's something that's hard to figure. Like, you don't want to get stuck with like $1,000 worth of sweatshirts for a year. So we weren't real sure how those would sell. So we only ordered, I think, 10 hoodies the first round. How do you order? All the merchandise and stuff can be found at www.briansfarmingvideos.com. I'm pretty sure it's in all the video descriptions. Are you looking to lease or buy it? It depends on what we would do and how good the prices were. If it's something that would make sense to buy instead of lease, we'd do that. For example, if we found an older tractor that we could get at a good price, like I'm talking 100 to 150,000 range, we'd probably go ahead and purchase that. Something like this tractor, I don't know, we'd probably lease something like this just because the cost to own this would be pretty high. So I don't know. Probably be something where lease with the intent to buy at the end, maybe. I don't know. Not sure yet. Have to see some numbers. Figured you'd be looking more into bean planters than anything else. That is also on the list, but not sure yet. Depends on what we can do with a fertilized bar, I guess. If it's up to me, a bean planter is the first thing. Mention possible strip till. What bars are you looking at? We have an old Gator bar at the house that we bought in an auction for a couple $1,000s. So I guess we're going to start there. We don't have a fertilized cart for it. We do have a tank. We might try strip tilling 28 in with it for a year. I don't know. But that's kind of a winter project. We're going to try to get into the shop, see what all needs replaced. Like I said, we got it really cheap, so I know it needs hydraulic lines. Probably needs new metal on it, but we do have a starting place. Anderson Fenton, I'm not sure what the SEK money would be, but thanks for the 30 SEK. I lost my comments. Where'd they go? Hold on. We're starting to pull her down hard. For whatever reason, the stream keeps kicking out, which is odd because I'm in a place with great cell phone coverage. So hopefully that doesn't keep happening. Yeah. One thing about doing these live streams, I start to lose my voice before we get to the end. What is up, brother? Is that you, BJ? No, I'm kidding. Did the Millennial Farmer inspire you to start YouTube? He was the first farming channel that I found. I mean, he didn't exactly inspire me to do it, but I guess I didn't realize that anyone would even want to watch what we do for a living until I found his channel. I actually found his channel trying to figure out how to use Field View. He had some video where he was talking about using Field View, and that was the first thing I ever stumbled upon. You need coffee. I have been out for a while. You would think that'd be enough coffee, but it's been empty for like since 2 o'clock. Haven't been back to the grain bins for a while. Why are we going slow? We need to go faster. Why don't you go straight no-till? We've tried that before, and I mean, it depends on what you mean by straight no-till. We do no-till corn into the ground. I mean, there's nothing happening on these bean fields except for this one. I mean, we are ripping it, but I don't know. I kind of believe in minimal tillage, like a strip till or an inline ripper. I don't want to turn dirt over. I just want to aerate the ground a little bit, bust up some compaction. But it also depends on the ground. Like some of the fields around here, we will not run this ripper through just because they don't need it. They're sandy ground. They're not really compacted at all. This one, you can kind of tell when the crop's growing. Maybe there's a little bit of compaction here. Like there's a sprayer track right there. I don't know if you can see it on the phone camera, but Dad has had the same size sprayer boom for the last 15 years. And he's used the same AB lines. So for the 15 years, that sprayer is heavy on small tires. There's a lot of compaction there. So that's kind of why I want to get into some kind of form of deep tillage or deep fertilize. Do you allow any waterfowl hunting? No, because that's all for me. Sorry to be stingy, but when it comes to waterfowl hunting, you can never have enough ground to hunt on. Especially around here, there's just not a lot of birds in the area. So when it comes to duck hunting, you basically have to be able to hunt wherever the birds are going. So me and several of my other buddies that farm hunt together, and between all of us, we can usually find some ducks. Not always. Sometimes they just ain't here. Keep in mind, any bird that we're shooting at, he got lost. He ain't in the Mississippi flyway, he ain't in the Atlantic flyway. He's just lost. Turning around. I don't think BJ's ran this one at all. I was trying to call him before we started this stream, because I think they're going to, like I said, I think they're going to get done with corn early tonight. I was going to see if he wanted to come run this before he went home, but he never answered, so he can watch this tomorrow. There's always something to upgrade. Hard to decide what's the most important piece of equipment. That is a fact. Part of me says a tractor is not a good idea. I almost hate to do it, but I'd rather get rid of the 8400 and get a used tractor that will replace it with a lot more horsepower. But the old 8400, I don't think Dad would sell. Which brand would you say is the least expensive? They're actually all very expensive. Like, I thought a Versatile would be pretty cheap once just because you don't see them very often, but I mean, they're pretty similar in price point to everything else. It does seem like the John Deere, from my experience pricing them, seems like it's usually a little bit higher up there. I think they all start out list-wise pretty high. It's just a matter of how aggressive factories are to capture market share. John Deere's always at the top of that in North America. I don't feel like they feel they need to capture market share. So it just seems to me like they're not as aggressive. So I don't know. I don't know. It just depends on the time, I guess. And I've heard of some really good deals on some Case IH equipment. How many total acres? 3,500 acres. When will you put some of this ripping into the next video? This video will be, I think they're like 2 days behind. So Yeah, you'll see this in not tomorrow morning, not the next morning, but the morning after that. I think. I don't know. All the days are running together. Like, I know there's only been like a video like the last 2 days in a row, but those are from like, what came out today? I'm trying to think here. I think Sunday's video came out today. So we started, I think we've filmed every day since Friday. So I don't know. I get confused on when they'll be out, but be out in a few days. Heading around again. This field is a large field, but they are short rows. The field is 1.5 miles long, but the rows are not. Maybe we should farm it together. Oh, she's eating now. We're letting her eat. Hello from Southern Indiana. I always try to buy equipment for the price and service. That's exactly how to do it. We've always had good luck with Ohio ag equipment, so that's why they have most of our business. But giving a shout out to George, and George is stuffing his face somewhere. You can guarantee you that. They will price you pretty good because of the other non-Deere that you have. Yeah, it's true. Really, if you were being honest, I guess you'd probably be ahead. This is with seed, this is with everything. You'd probably be ahead to switch brands every like 3 years. Let's see here. Well, losing track where we are. Brian, how is Bob feeling? He sounds sick still. He's not sick, he just has a cold. His voice is a little raspy, but I think he's a little bit better today. Someone said they were trying to eliminate all the grain augers. We'll still have a grain auger or two. Hi Brian, what'd I miss? Well, we've been going back and forth for 42 minutes. Talked a little bit about the tractor, talked a little bit about what I like, what I don't. But check this part out. Down here, there is a refrigerator. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. How about a little shave, buddy? Well, if you haven't been watching very long, I pretty much always have a beard. Now, after harvest, I will trim the beard, but I will still be a bearded man. Believe it or not, under all this fur, I have a baby face. I actually look like I'm 12. Trying to find my next pass. Yeah, trying to implement. Yeah, this field that we're in right now, one of the reasons why I wanted to rip part of it, last time that there was, last year this field was corn, and when we harvested it, man, we really, it was muddy. It was probably one of the muddiest we've ever been in this area for us. I never got stuck. There's just not enough topsoil to really get stuck here, but man, we tracked it up pretty bad. And I can tell it. Like, I can tell when we hit a grain cart path because it pulls hard. What snacks do you have in the cabin tonight? I have a bottle of water, a pack of gum, and a bag of beef jerky. Contrary to what Dad says, I'm not a big snacker. My theory is if you don't take food in the tractor with you, you won't eat everything all day. What will BJ's role in the farm be? I'm still getting the hang of that. Not used to having another person all year. I'd say at some point he'll probably do some turbo tilling. I don't know if he'll plant beans. Maybe I'll plant corn and Dad will do spraying, or I don't know. Still figuring that part out. Is there a light under the radio? I don't think so. The radio's right there. I don't see any light there. Just that one. Kind of surprised it's not LED. Come on, John Deere. Acura has an LED light in their cab, and it's pretty nice. How deep to gravel? Well, apparently it's lower than 20 inches. That's about how low we're going, but it's not very deep. This is one of the spots with less gravel on it. There's actually a bank right over there where I started. I started at the bottom of that bank. On top of that bank, it's very gravelly, like not very far down at all. So this is kind of the heavier ground of this field. I know at our home farm, we used to have well water, and I think they hit water at that farm when they put that well in at like 8 feet. So it's pretty springy over there. Not so much right here. Oh, don't want to stall her. Start grunting. It's one of the hard places. Went to a field just about a mile down the road. This field's working up really well. The field I left before I got here was working up really well. You can really see the ground fracturing like it's supposed to. Like when you're running an inline ripper, you just want that ground to raise up and then drop as you go past it. It just fractures it, busts the compaction. But for some reason, that other field that I went to, very wet. I'm guessing because it was corn stalks. Those corn stalks were just kind of acting like a blanket, holding that moisture in. This being bean stubble, it dried out a little quicker is my guess on top. Now, on top, it's a little tacky, not bad at all. I mean, we're not tracking up mud or anything, but when you go down 20 inches, it is not wet at all. Would you consider buying this John Deere? I would. I've not seen anything in the hours that I've been running it that like just say I do not want this. A different monitor worries me. I would rather everything be one monitor just because it's something else to keep track of, but it doesn't seem to be too hateful as far as how to use it. In fact, it does seem to be a little bit more user-friendly than the Acura terminal in the Challenger. So yeah, I would be interested in this tractor. It's just going to come down to price. We need a blooper video. Well, unfortunately, where I edit everything on an iPad, basically as soon as I'm done editing, I delete all that footage so I can make room for the next video. You guys should consider the Challenger you have. That's a great tractor. We are. We would definitely be open to another Challenger as well. It would fill the same needs that this one would. So that is also something that's been looked at. What other tractors are you looking at? Looking at another 1038, just like basically identical to the one we have. Also looking at probably would be a used 2-track tractor if we went that route, like that 875 that we had earlier. I really like that tractor from tillage. It's actually pretty good on the cart too. And those are really the only tractors we've looked at. We've talked about a Versatile, but we actually haven't went and looked at one yet. Would you lease or buy a tractor? Just depends on what the deal was. What's your thoughts on deleting and reprogramming? If you mean the emissions on this tractor, I probably wouldn't. It would be much nicer if it wasn't there, but you're hurting your resale value, and I will never delete, tune, or do anything to a vehicle or tractor or piece of equipment that still has a warranty. These things are extremely expensive. That motor blows up on the first year you have it, you're gonna wish you still had your warranty. That's my thoughts on it. Whenever I was big into diesel trucks, like to play around with, that was my thoughts too. If they still had warranty on them, I'd keep them stock. If not, well, all bets were off. A 1040 Fendt or an 8400 John Deere if you had to choose right now. Keep in mind they don't make a 1040. I guess you're talking about 1042. I'd probably go with the 1042 just because I have more experience with it, and it's very, I mean, it would be 100% comfortable for me to hop in that thing and go do anything. This one I'm still getting the hang of. Call farmhand Mike for a tractor. And keep in mind, Mike works for Versatile. He doesn't work for a dealer. So, getting ready for four-legged deer season. I'm ready. I'm ready to be done with harvest, and I'm ready to go do some pesticide application. Would you consider an articulating tractor? I would prefer not to. Dad has mentioned it, just because you can find a big horsepower articulator pretty cheap usually. I'm just not as big of a fan. I would rather go with a 2-track high horsepower tractor or a higher horsepower front wheel assist, I think. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it if we found a good one, but it's just not my preferred method of not my preferred piece of equipment, I guess. And I've had 2 Steigers. So I do have experience in them. It's just, they're jerky, they're not as, I don't know. A front wheel assist tractor I like better. Come on, Brian, give us UK viewers a big hello. Hello! Is that what you're talking about? What do you think of JCB Fast Tracks? Not a whole lot of them in this area. There is one dealer I know of, but I don't know if they have a row crop tractor, but I've never really looked at them. Would you raise livestock again? About the only livestock we're going to be raising are our kids' 4-H animals if they so choose to do 4-H. Not something that I'm looking to get into anytime in the near future, though. How fast are you pulling? I got my cruise set right there at 6.4. We're actually going 5.9. I've been going anywhere from 6 to 7.5. Just depends on how much dirt's shooting out of the ground. I don't want to disturb the soil anymore, and I have to. So if I can run a little bit slower and keep that dirt in the trench, I'm going to do that. But at the same time, I also want to get done today or this week. It really sucks going from pulling a 30-foot implement to pulling a 12.5-foot implement. What's your dog's name? Which dog? I have 2 diesel dogs and 1 dog named Stone. Is it wet? It's not wet at all, really. It's not bad. I was pretty surprised. Yesterday, I had dust yesterday, so we did get a slight sprinkle yesterday. It kind of settled the dust, but no, it's not bad at all. How many acres you got left? We have 20 acres of corn. They should be 20 by now. And like 200 acres of double crop soybeans. I'm really hoping that tomorrow and Thursday we can finish everything, but I don't know. We're gonna be really close on it. It's supposed to rain Friday. If it wasn't for that rain last night, last night I was in the process of, I was playing with this thing, and then I was gonna get in the combine and go start some double crops. And Dad was going to move to another farm and finish some corn. And if he would have been able to do that, we would have finished corn today, and we would have had about, we would have had a little bit of double crops, a little bit more done. Yep. I don't know what happened, but I missed my auto steer button. Back up. Whoa. There we go. Alright, let's get to some comments. Power shift. This is a power shift. Is that your subsoiler? This is a unpreferred zone builder. It's an inline ripper. It's not a subsoiler. To be honest, though, I don't really know the difference. You guys ever thought about growing hemp? I wouldn't grow it anytime in like the next couple years. I mean, if it proves to be something that's profitable after the kinks get all worked out of it, and it gets a little bit more normalized, it's something that I would possibly do. Would you buy any new Klaus combine or any other brand? I'd be open to the ones that I've ran. I've not ran a John Deere, so I don't have anything to really compare them to, but I have ran a Case, I have ran an Ideal, and I ran a new Klaus, so I would be open to those three at the moment. What's after harvest? When will you sow your winter crops are in for 2020 harvest? Well, our wheat crop is already planted. After harvest, we'll be cleaning up stuff. Going to do some shop work. Said before harvest I wanted to clean our shop out. I still do. We've got a few winter projects lined up, but also have some fun things going on in the winter. Usually the winter is the time where go on a vacation, stuff like that. Duck season starts like the second week of December, so I spend a lot of mornings freezing. And then we'll be hauling grain. And then unfortunately we'll be doing a lot of paperwork and that kind of stuff, because that is the season that we do that kind of stuff. And I dislike that part of farming quite a bit. See, there's the turnips, or the radishes. They're pretty much dead now. They stink. I drove through some of them earlier and they got a little stinky. Oh, we didn't turn quite as sharp as I wanted to. Back it up. You have turned into one of the best farm channels. Why, thank you. Oh, I'm trying to turn the camera around. But there's quite a bit of good farm channels now. Seems like in the last year there's really been a lot of good ones come up. Yeah, them turnips, or radish, I don't know why I keep going turnips, but them things smell. I can smell them right now. Got an odor. Someone asked, how old is Dax? Dax is 4. Love the captions on your videos. Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention to turn on your subtitles. I know a lot of you already know that, but we've gained like 15,000 people since that became a thing. So if you're new, when you watch our videos, watch it with the subtitles on for a good laugh. How's your wife? Does she join you a lot on the combines, tractors? She's good. She rides when she can. She rides in the equipment when she can, but we have 3 kids, so she's at home with them. Would you buy a Klaus 8900 combine? No, that's just a bigger machine than we would be needing. If we were in the market for a new combine and we were going the Klaus route, it'd probably be a 7500 like we demoed, or at the biggest would be the Class 8, I think, so what, 8600. What video is your favorite one to make so far? That's a good question. Oh man, my voice is getting a little raspy. Videos that I've enjoyed the most have been like the ones with our family history that I did with Dad last winter. The channel was a lot smaller then. Those videos didn't get a huge amount of views. They weren't the most like entertaining to watch, but to me they meant the most because now I have a record of that. My kids can watch that. There was one video we did of the our old barn. I really enjoyed doing that just because that barn's in pretty bad shape and it's either going to fall over or we're going to tear it down eventually. So it was really meant a lot to me to get Dad to walk through that with me, show me how everything was used back in its heyday. He was, when he was growing up, they used that barn in their daily operation for cattle. So he actually knew how everything worked in it, and that was a really fun video to make. Outside of it being like 15 degrees when we did it, it was really cold, but other than that, I really enjoyed doing that video. What does your wife think of YouTube? Well, this time last year, she thought it was a massive waste of time, but last year I was doing more videos than this year, and I really wasn't making any money. I mean, if you didn't know, we do get paid by Google to make videos once you get to a certain threshold of subscribers. And I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but I mean, it's enough to make it worth your time. So, I mean, she likes that part of it, I guess. She's never been like unsupportive of it. Get turned around here. We're actually in short rows now, so now we're going to have to turn even more. Perfect. Let's see here. Sure missed George in the last few videos. Good to see him in the last one. Yeah, George had a minor surgery on the 6th. Like I say, it was very minor. It was like a cyst that they just took off. I mean, no cancer, nothing like that. But after that, I mean, we didn't absolutely have to have him, so just gave him some time to recuperate. And he was he wasn't exactly begging to come to work either. He did come and eat a few times. How much does a new combine cost? Well, that depends on what you get, but if you're buying a new Class 7 combine, you might have it priced one, but I would say you're going to be in that $400,000 price range to buy. I'd say they start list-wise at like $450 to $500. If you ever thought about tuning your LB7? I did tune my LB7, but the LLY I have now stock. Now, I've thought about it. My truck is an LLY Duramax, but I don't know. It's just not something that's high on my priority list. It would be nice to have a little bit more horsepower. What's your plans for the after-hour channel this winter? I got several reviews on products I want to do. I enjoy reviewing stuff. Like if I find a product that I like, I don't know, I enjoy telling people that it works. Because, like for example, in the last video I put up a solar-powered floodlight. Could not find much information on that thing. So if that thing works very good after harvest, I'll do a mild little review on it or stuff like that. I'll probably put a hunting video or two on there of deer hunting. I probably will not film any duck hunting just because I tried that last year. I really did, but I enjoy duck hunting too much. And what I mean by that is, I like filming too, but at some point I want to break. And when I'm duck hunting, I just don't have. I couldn't enjoy my duck hunting because I was trying to film. So that's why I probably won't film any of that. Other things I'd like to do, I got a project I want to do on the 67 Camaro. I got a radiator I want to put in it and some other things. And then my grandpa Brown, his last pickup, the 86 GMC Sierra, I want to get it into the building, clean it up, do some stuff with it on the channel. Turn around here, drive through these stinky radishes. Whew. They did get pretty good size though. I do like those. I think they did a really good job. Like I say, I wish we didn't have to put those in the ground in like August. But I'm also not going to pay a plane to put them on. I know some people do that. It just seems to me like it would be really expensive. What happened to the mower shop? Well, we closed it. That was my dad and my brother's venture. They did that together. And I don't know, I think my brother just wanted to do something else. So, he came back to the farm. Is picking radishes the same as tomatoes? I don't know. We plant those as a cover crop. They're dead. Do you see the new Mustang EGT that Ford has done to the iconic Mustang? I seen some Facebook article of a 69 Mustang Boss that they claimed it was a new 69 Boss. I didn't read it. I'm not really a huge Ford guy. If it was a new car that was actually being produced by Ford, it did look very similar to a 69 Mustang. So that part's kind of cool. Have you discussed when you will plant in relation to where you have ripped in furrow? Well, it depends. I'm not sure how this ground's going to look after winter. I'm hoping that the ground will settle. I am ripping with the rows. Dad has RTK, and this is on Surefire, Starfire, whatever 3, so it should be pretty accurate. I'm hoping he can either go in between where I'm ripping, or maybe at a slight angle, but I would prefer to go in between where we're ripping. Thoughts on the Jeep Gladiator? Not a huge fan. I don't know. I would just buy a Jeep or I'd buy a pickup. I don't know. Jeeps are fun, but I don't think I would own a Jeep just like for my main vehicle. Just because the one we had a Jeep Unlimited 2007. It was a fun vehicle, but it just, I don't know. I really like the Suburban better. Do you or BJ like to catfish? I used to catfish in my younger days, but it was more or less just an excuse to hang out with my buddies. Not a huge fisherman anymore. I always liked fishing for the bait better than fishing for the catfish. Like we used to just wade through the creeks, catch bluegill, and that's what we would use for bait. But this was many moons ago. I don't even remember the last time I went fishing. Alright, let's read some comments. Man, we've been going for a little over an hour. Do you use any chicken litter? I would like to. There's just not any big chicken farms around here. A friend of mine uses hog manure and it seems to do pretty well. About how much diesel fuel do you use every harvest? That is a good question. I would have to look at the receipts, but just going off the top of my head here. Man, I don't know. I guess I would have to look at the receipts. Combine holds 250 gallons of fuel. You can usually run 2 days in soybeans. So, I don't know. Quite a bit. How's the 8400R? Sounds like you're getting a cold. I'm not getting a cold. My voice was perfectly fine when we started the live stream. It's just I've been talking non-stop for a little over an hour. Which seed brand does your operation plant the most? Since 1990, when Seed Consultants started, we've planted a majority of the Seed Consultants. We're not a dealer or anything, but at one time my dad was a DeKalb dealer and a Supercross dealer, and when he was, the guy that started Seed Consultants was his territory rep. So that formed a pretty long-standing relationship, and that's how we got hooked up with Seed Consultants. I mean, the guy that owned Seed Consultants, I mean, I've known him my whole life. They did sell to Pioneer or DuPont at the time, but I don't know. That's what we plant the most of. Who's your cellular provider? This live streaming is being brought to you by AT&T. Is the 8400 cheaper than the 1038 fuel-wise? I don't think so, but I've also never ripped with the 1038. 1038 is a very fuel-efficient tractor. It's a very low revving RPM tractor. I mean, like right now, this one's running 1860 RPMs. The 1038 doesn't rev up to that many. It redlines at 1800. It's a man engine. I think it's probably more fuel efficient. It's just a guess. But like I say, I'll know more when I hook this up to the Turbo Max, which will probably be tomorrow. But if I can do soybeans, we're doing soybeans. Heck of this thing. That is priority number one. And the only reason we're not doing the soybeans tonight, I don't have anywhere to put them, and they're wet. What did you buy the Gator for if it's not in the videos? The Gator is my dad's. That is not mine. Same reason anyone else would have a side-by-side. He basically uses that. I mean, he uses it every day. But, I mean, while we're in harvest, it's basically just being used to go get his pickup. He parks his pickup at the farm shop and drives that home. So. But it will be used. You'll see it in some videos. Do you ever have issues with the regen def systems on your farm equipment? Knock on wood, the only time we've ever had an issue, I think it was, I think it might have been Dad's Challenger. Had a code go up once, but overall, nothing yet. Get the Camaro done yet. The Camaro runs like a top. On the After Hours channel, I think there was 2 videos of putting that 6-speed or 5-speed transmission in it. And yeah, got her done. Runs great. I do have to redo the brake light assembly though. I messed something up there. What's your thoughts on New Zealand? Any Massey tractors? Don't have any Masseys. I mean, I don't know. What do you mean by New Zealand? It seems like an okay country, but I don't know a whole lot about it. Glad to hear your dad doesn't want to part with the old 8400. Nope, he's a pretty big fan. What's your other channel? I have another channel called After Hours. Basically, I was starting to put a lot of hobby stuff on this channel, and I kind of wanted to keep this just for farming content. So I started another channel. There's not a lot on it right now. I started it in July, I think. Basically, I posted 4 videos on it, I believe. So not a whole lot of content just yet. I made that channel with the intent to do a video a month, but that's kind of on average. Like in harvest, there's just not enough time. Be nice to demo a case. Well, I mean, I've got experience in a Magnum, and I don't think they've changed a lot since 2012. That was the last Magnum I had. Now, the new Magnum coming out, that would be pretty cool to try, but I don't think they have any of those in at our local case dealer yet. Like the Magnum 400 or whatever it is. Their new monitor looks like it's going to be a pretty nice monitor. Looks like it'll be pretty comparable to this 4600, just from what I've seen of it at the farm shows. How does the 8R compare to your 1038? The cab seems to be smaller. I can't confirm that, but it's just like when I look at it, it just feels like that front glass right there just feels closer to me. It feels more boxy. No, hold on. I don't know if it's any smaller or not. For all I know, it just could be how the glass is laid out. I mean, this is not a small cab. I'm very comfortable. I'm a pretty big guy. And, man, I've got my legs stretched out. If it wasn't for this freaking camera right here, it'd be pretty easy to stretch out in. But yeah, that part of it's not really a factor. But a couple things I like different about my 1038. I wish that was right there. Not a huge deal. I could get the hang of that. There seems to be less buttons on this. I don't know if that's good or bad. Seems like it has a little bit less functionality, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. The data management part of it seems to be simpler. That's one thing that's kind of my big gripe with the 1038 and the AccuTerminal. The data management part of it is not the greatest in my opinion. I don't know a lot about that one, but it wouldn't take a lot to be better than the AccuTerminal, in my opinion. So, and it seems to be a lot of people really like those, so they must not be terrible, like the 4600. Now, I know that John Deere also has like the My Operations Center. That seems like a pretty nice feature. I think AGCO has something like that. I don't have any experience with it. I need to look into that. I know they have some kind of online cloud-based system that you can manage all your tractor information from. I just can't remember what it is now. And I've never used it. But I know the guy, my salesman that brought me this machine, he did have Climate before he got My Operations Center or whatever they call it, and basically replaced Climate for him. So Dad would be okay with that, that's for sure. I was actually thinking in a couple videos ago, I haven't heard Dad complaining about Climate too much here lately. It's like the world was going to end. Were you all using Y drops? No, we weren't using Y drops. We just use straight drop nozzles. And I'm pretty far behind in the chat. Every time I turn, I lose my place. Hold on, we'll get to it. Hello from Germany. Much fun. Nice tractor. Thank you. What's the physical size difference between the 8400R and the 1038? I think the 8400 might be a little bit shorter. I haven't had them beside each other. I hope we finish harvest before they take this tractor away. That way I can pull them side by side and get them both cleaned up and really compare them. Might even do a video on that. I think other than that, I think they're both pretty large size machines. I know you parked this 8400 beside our old 8400, and wow, it's quite the size difference. I will be sending you guys a package. Well, thank you, Matt. You gotta love the 8400R. Well, I mean, yeah, I like it. It's not bad. Like I said, I would not have any objections to running this machine on a regular basis. I was at Agritechnica. That seems like a pretty cool show. My Agco salesman, he went to that. Said it was unreal how big that show is. He said it was like 3 or 4 times the size of the National Farm Machinery Show, and that's pretty impressive. Get this thing turned around again. What time is it? And I'm probably going to end this thing here soon, because we're about done with this field. I have a YouTube video to edit, and my voice is just about going. And since I got auto steer, I can edit while I'm doing this. Just finished manure spreading. Why 1038 and not the 939? I really like the way that 900 series looks. It looks like it would be a better row crop machine. It's a little bit narrower, a little bit smaller frame, I think. But they have a new Fendt 933, I think, at our local dealer, and it is way more money than 1038. 1038 is a Challenger, not a Fendt, so I don't know if that's it or not, but yeah, they're just not as aggressively priced. Do you play Farming Simulator? No, don't have any experience with it. Did you actually buy it? If you mean the tractor, no. That video that said we bought it and had a picture of this tractor, we bought a grain vac in that video. So, tug of war. Yeah, I was telling my salesman, I said, you'd probably be getting a phone call pretty quick if a video of me hooking this demo tractor to our Challenger went online, especially if the John Deere got pulled backwards. If money wasn't an object, which harvester would you choose? If money wasn't an object, I would probably risk it and go for the Ideal. I say risk it because they have no track record yet. Like, there's not a whole lot of them out there. This is really the first season of them being used. That's kind of the thing that would hold me back from them at the moment. I don't know how they're going to hold up over time. But if money was no object, and if it was a turd and I could just go buy something different, I would risk it and go for an Ideal. That's one thing I like about the Kloss. I kind of know what to expect from it, and the case is a pretty proven design as well. When we demoed that case, I mean, it seemed like a really smooth running combine. But I really think the Ideal is a good design. I think they have a lot of promise in what they've done there. Like I said, I don't know how well it's going to hold up, because there's just none of them really out there yet. Did you and Big Mike go to school together? Big Mike is actually George's son, which is my cousin. He's one of his best friends. We did go to school together. He's 4 years younger than me, though. Would you go with the John Deere S680 with tracks? I would be pretty... I don't know. I don't have any experience with one. I don't know what to expect out of a John Deere, so I don't know. Like, I guess out of all the major brands, it would probably be last on my list just because of that. I know they're good combines. There's a lot of them out there. If they were bad combines, I don't think so many people would be buying them, but I don't know. I don't know. What would you say is the Cadillac of tractors? Probably a Fendt or a Challenger, like the Fendt equivalent or Challenger equivalent of the Fendt. Or, I mean, I don't know. That new RX has a massaging chair, for crying out loud. That's pretty fancy. How do you like your moisture tester? I have the same one. I wish it wouldn't throw that code, but other than that, it works fine. How large is the field you're in? We are in a 186-acre field. Nah, George wasn't married to my dad's sister. He was married to my mom's sister. My dad does have a sister, but she is not. She was never married to George. John Deere just doesn't have the capacity. I'm reading a comment here. That says Lexion's combine will do 55 or 5,000. Yeah, a Kloss will do 5,000 an hour. Not right. It's definitely capable of doing that. But that being said, that red combine, I mean, we were pegged at 5,000 bushel an hour multiple times in it. So I think it just depends on how good your corn is too. We were in pretty good corn when that happened. But I'm sure that new John Deere combine, or I'm sure a 680 or 780, I'm sure it would probably do that kind of capacity in good corn. I think what kind of separates the Kloss, in my opinion, from a Deere or any other combine is the amount of separation you have there. You have a thresher or a pre-threshing cylinder, another beater, and 2 rotors. So by the time it goes through all that, if that corn is not off of that cob, it was just not meant to be, or the operator just doesn't have it set. And they have quite a bit of cleaning capacity as well. The only downside of a Kloss, they tend to grind corn pretty good. I do believe that the new one is better than that. Better though, so. Kloss have tested a new combine here in Denmark. It's huge. Yep. I am not a farmer, but I really like your videos. Thank you, Wayne. Thanks for watching. A 680 or 780 won't do 5,000. I'll start throwing out the back. Okay. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Now, when I say ours will do 5,000, they most certainly will do 5,000 an hour if you really push them and get good corn. But you will show a little bit of loss on the monitor. That being said, when my combine's showing loss, that does not necessarily mean there's loss. Especially on mine, I think my loss sensors just wore out because I've turned my sensitivity all the way off, like clear down to 0, and I still show just a little bit of loss. I've never had it flashing, but I always show just a little bit of loss. They seem to be extremely sensitive, and I don't know if it's chaff or what, but when you put a pan behind you, you really don't find much. So, I don't know. But I don't think that red one was really losing anything when we were running 5 through it. But it was automated, so it was making all those adjustments for you to keep you from doing that. Oh, there's some compaction. She's singing now. Oh, now she's lugging down. I'm going to guess your mom doesn't like the camera. Nah, she doesn't really mind it. She just doesn't ever really get it in the videos. Her decision, not mine. What's your thoughts on the grain cart ripper you're demoing this fall? The ripper, I really like the job that it's doing. We have a Blue Jet inline ripper. It's a 5-shank, which is very similar to this. But the Blue Jet doesn't have that rolling basket. At first I thought that basket would probably just be kind of a gimmick, not really do a lot. But I like it. It really does mash down. If you get the enough down force on it, it's mashing down any kind of clot you're going to pop up. So I don't know, I'm curious to see if we could plant right into this without going over it with any kind of Turbo Max or anything like that. I did plant into some wheat that we just ripped a wet spot in, and it seemed to do fine. So I really like the ripper. I wish it was a bigger ripper. We probably will not be purchasing this one just because if we do go with a tillage rotation, we would probably want a 7-shank ripper. About to hit a groundhog hole. Right there. See, this thing does ride pretty good. You got to give it credit there. It has a fully independent front axle, and so does my Challenger. This one just seems like it moves maybe a little bit more. I don't know that it rides any better. I haven't felt any, like, when I get in it, I can't say, man, I can just feel this thing riding a whole lot better. But you can watch them A-arms moving. I would describe it as like watching a Polaris Razor, like when it's going through like rough stuff. It's kind of what it feels like almost. Spin her around. Find my AB line here. We definitely went to the wrong one, but we're just going to go with it. About done with this field. Love to try one of those Lexions versus our Deere, but the resale on Lexions are horrible. They are. That's how I ended up with mine, because they're not worth a whole lot when they're used, and I bought mine used. Tell us what you're running. Thanks. I am running an Underfoot Zone Builder 5-shank ripper, inline ripper. I'm running it at 6 miles an hour. Was the cloth that Combine Cloth had out was automated? Yeah, it was. It had the CMOS automation system. They were actually the first ones to have a fully automated combine. I'm pretty positive. Like CMOS has been around since like 2015, 2014. It seemed like it worked fairly well in beans. In corn, I don't know. I didn't really notice it doing a whole lot in corn, just because in corn that thing does really well. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, you wouldn't have to adjust a whole lot in corn, is what I'm saying. And soybeans, I think that's where you would see the big advantage to hit on a Cloth combine. It seemed like maybe the case was a little bit simpler to use the automation on. But other than that, what is the horsepower requirement for the ripper you're running? You're going to get different answers. The other 8400 is 225 horse, and it will pull it depending on how deep I go. I've got this thing not buried, but pretty close. I mean, I'm running like 20 inches, so I'm pulling pretty hard. I mean, it depends on what kind of ground we're in. This ground's pretty heavy, pretty compacted, and yeah, you need 350 horse right now. Most of the time, you can get by with like a 250 horse tractor, though. I know some people thought I was crazy when I said that the old 8400 wouldn't have enough power to pull this. Well, I've stalled this one, and it has 400 horse. 50 horsepower per shank. See, you're going 50 horsepower, that's 250 horse. Like I said, this is a 400 horse tractor, and I stalled it. Do you want to get more track things for less compaction? I don't know. Like, I really like a front wheel assist tractor better, I think. I'm not sure. The combine, I wouldn't mind having a track combine, because I can see, I don't really see tractor tracks in the fields like this when crops are growing. I can visually see the combine tracks, and that drives me crazy, especially in double crops. Like, the double crops look great until you get in the field, and you'll see good double crops do good double crops, and then you'll see combine tracks with nothing in them. And I would like to have tracks on that. And tracks in the cart would probably be nice. I mean, those carts are pretty big, but also you can put pretty big floats on a cart too, so I don't know. I would definitely like to have them on a combine. Why do you think the resale for Cloth is so bad? Cloth only has like 10% market share in the United States. So of all the people looking for equipment, there's just not a lot looking for Cloth equipment. So like John Deere, I mean, they have the highest resale value. They also have the highest market share. That's my take on it. Paul Green, I need a drink. Okay. I run a custom 5-shank ripper for the 4960, running 3.5 to 4 feet. See, that also depends on your ground too. I know, like, I think AGCO guy was telling me in Georgia they run like a ripper ahead of a tractor, like on the same bar. We definitely couldn't get away with that here. They said they have a lot sandier ground or something like that, I guess, but we couldn't do that here. You would not do it very well anyways. I'm going to answer 3 more questions, and then that's going to be it. So you can ask your questions right now. I will answer 3 of them, and then we're going to call her quits. So we're just about done. Is your corn head a chopping corn head? No, we do not have a chopping corn head. We used to have a regular corn head. I've heard it said that with the tillage practices that we're doing that you don't want a chopping corn head. I don't know. I just know ours wasn't a chopping corn head when we bought it, so it's still not one. We've never had one. Who's your favorite subscriber? I don't know. I can't. There's a lot of them. I don't know. Considered buying a Bayer corn head? No. For our combine, a 12 row is more than adequately sized to it. For a 16 row, we would need a wider body combine, like a 760, like the Millennial Farmer is demoing, or the new, whatever the new number for it, 8800, I believe. Have you ever used? Shoot. Have you ever used a disc ripper or plant to? I don't know the question. Love your videos. Thank you. Oh, hold on. Gotta turn. It's real inconvenient when you gotta turn all the time. Just go straight forever. There we go. Drop her down. Okay. Watching from Texas. Love the videos. Been watching since day one. Thanks for watching. Do you have man, interested in a Pro-Till? Not. I'd have to look into what they are. Someone asked if we have a corn reel or would be interested in putting one. We don't have a corn reel. Really, with our Capella, we've been able to pick up down corn pretty well. There's been times where it's definitely been handy, but no, we do not have a corn reel. But guys, thanks for hanging out for the last hour and a half. We're going to call her quits. There will be a video out tomorrow at some point, probably around 8 o'clock in the morning or so. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next video.